Alright, next day. 5 days after my birthday. There you have it. Although hearing of her sister's survival calmed Machina down significantly, the events of yesterday are still painfully fresh in her mind. She shows us a brave attempt at a smile, but can't hide the wariness beneath it. When the girl declares herself uninterested in breakfast, I enlist Sachi's assistance in preparing a unique but nutritious mackerel pumpkin soup from Amine's recipe notebook. Machina refuses the meal with an almost frightened expression on her face, so I proceed to pin her arms behind her back as our reliable maid emotionlessly crams spoonfuls of food into her mouth. If anyone did that to me, I would be really fucking pissed. I don't care what kind of mood I'm in. If I just saw my family die, if I just saw a dog die, if I just lost my arm, don't feed me if I don't want food. Through this admirable display of teamwork, we successfully force-feed the girl the breakfast her body needs. I know it might be a little hard to eat right now, but your injuries won't heal if you don't get adequate nutrients. Ugh. You were lucky this time, yes. Just be grateful that explosion didn't give you an afro. It might sound like a joke, but the hot pulse of air from an explosion burns your hair starting from the tip, sometimes curling it pretty dramatically. As a general rule, it's a good idea to brush a hand over your head when a bomb blast goes by. Often as not, cinders that used to be part of your hair will fall off like sesame seeds from a bun. Alright, this is a good opportunity. Why don't I teach you the anti-explosive self-defense procedure? Well, she's back to her normal self. Let's end the session. Listen up, Machina. The sentence, "It's getting dangerous these days," isn't just the vapid catchphrase of self-satisfied middle-aged men who think they figured out how the world works. As you were reminded yesterday, there truly are countless dangers lurking all around us. When such threats arrive, they arrive suddenly, and all too often we are completely unprepared to defend ourselves. Indeed, such complacent carelessness has become an unfortunate element of our national character. This is the very reason Japan has earned the disgraceful title of pacifist patsies? I've never heard of that title. Among the major powers. You know, maybe I did hear that title, but just flew right over my head. I don't know. Look, kid, even if you're thinking that sort of thing, it's better not to actually say it. Okay, let's try this again. I'll now initiate you in the basics of personal defense against explosions. Listen carefully. The fundamental principle is low to the ground. When an explosion's coming, get down first and think later. Yeah. Indeed, go prone and get yourself as flat to the ground as you possibly can. With the exception of some specially designed charges, explosions naturally tend to direct their power upward. If there's a foxhole nearby, claim it. Doesn't matter if it's full to the brim with a mixture of muddy water and excrement. Or however you may pronounce that. Doesn't matter if your buddy's pathetic corpse is lying inside. Jump in without a moment's hesitation. After this, assume the anti-explosive position. There's a small flap of cartilage in front of your ear hole called the tragus. Strongly press down on these with your thumbs to protect your eardrums. Next, open your mouth wide. This reduces the burden on your eardrums and keeps your lungs from popping like balloons. What? Under the pressure of the shockwave. That's scary. Oh my god. That's really fucking scary. You've experienced for yourself just how powerful that shockwave is, so I'm sure you can understand, but don't underestimate that pressure. When the explosion occurs indoors, it's even more powerful. If you're close to the blast, it's like being squeezed in the hand of a giant. The pain is intense. Sometimes the pressure can push your eyes clean out of their sockets. While pressing the tragus on both ears with your thumbs, use the remaining fingers to cover your eyelids. Keep your eyeballs where they belong and defend them against the flash of the explosion.
両手の指でまぶたを押さえ、爆発と閃光から眼球を守ります。
How would it feel to have your eyes get popped out of their socket? Like, it's gotta hurt, definitely. But they're still gonna be, like, connected, right? I'm sorry, this is a weird topic. I'm just trying to, like, imagine the possible pain that I would feel if I was a part of an explosion. Or in an explosion. Or something of that sort. Good. Alright then, next up. We're beginning image training based on the hypothetical scenario. Situation as follows. Recon mission in the subtropical jungle. The time? Dawn. Your enemies are powerful local guerrillas. They're well equipped and have excellent morale. Enter the scenario.
状況に入ります。
Enemy raid. At my abrupt snarl, Machina throws herself flat to the ground. The enemy have ambushed you. Your position is pinned down by machine gun fire. Don't raise your head an inch. Keep that chin nuzzling the ground, and crawl along the ground to the trench visible ahead. Just as instructed, Machina creeps along the floor on her knees and elbows, clutching an imaginary rifle. A moment later, she slipped her body into the space between the bed and the table.
くぼち確保。
As Machina screams this report, she repositions an imaginary iron helmet on her head in order to regain a clear field of vision. Not half bad. She seems to be pretty deeply into the scenario. Incoming from enemy position, M69. Assume the explosive defense position.
大爆防御。
Machina promptly plugs both her ears, opens her mouth wide, and strongly presses down on her eyeballs. Lowering her body as close to the ground as she can, she melds her body with the trench, tensing in preparation for the blast. Kaboom! I'm not really into it, guys. I've got no emotion. You damn fool! Your rear end sticking up into the air. Shrapnel has just robbed you of your left buttock. Get it down! Get that ass down! I vigorously trampled down on Machina's rear end to emphasize the point.
ケツを下げます。
Basic grenade technique is to throw at 2-second intervals. The next one's coming. Assume the explosive defense position.
大爆防御。
Okay. Kaboom. Sorry, guys.
ちょっと朝っぱらからどんどんうるさいわよ。何やってんのよもう。
Can you just shut up? Just your typical early morning anti-explosives training. If you think of it as an expression of diligent devotion to national defense, doesn't this almost bring a tear to your eye? You're welcome to join in, Michiru.
やんないわよ。つうか何よ対爆訓練って。
Exactly what it sounds like? As you know, Machina happened on the scene of a terror bombing yesterday afternoon. Accordingly, we're training to deal with similar scenarios. There's no downside to acquiring as many survival skills as you can.
何かと思えばバカバカしい。班長殿、有事の際に真っ先におっちんの間抜けを発見しました。間抜けって言うな。別に訓練自体はバカにしてないわよ。でもこんな大騒ぎするようなこと？もっ
But
と静かにやりなさいな。
Explosions are loud. They gotta be loud. Well, I thought a silly over-the-top game might briefly get Machina's mind off the fact that her little sister's fighting for her life, but... Why did we say that?
思い出させてどうすんのよ。
Sorry about that, Machina. Michiru says we're being too noisy, so it seems we'll have to call this training off. It may be nothing but an innocent safety drill, but if the local civilian populace can't be convinced, we have no choice but to discontinue it. Please understand, Machina.
ちょっと私が全部悪いみたいに言わないでくれる？じゃあチルチルも一緒にやる？
Please no.
それは
Well, I mean, I do understand what you're trying to say, Michiru. In reality, the odds of any one person encountering a dangerous explosion in their lifetime are probably fairly low. It's more likely than this training will end up being meaningless. But worst comes to worst, won't the people who wasted a few minutes planning for the what-ifs be the one who get out alive? Isn't that what survival skills are? For example, Michiru, let's say you take a vacation abroad to a country where the fire laws aren't well defined or enforced. As you're gobbling down a tasty local delicacy, a fire breaks out in the crowded restaurant. As panicked customers stampede to push their way through the single doorway, you glance upward and notice the flames slowly reaching their way to a cylinder of propane gas. What do? Think fast. Well, this is the difference between a person who's been trained and a helpless spectator.
いや、やけに具体的じゃないのよ。
Hey man, you gotta be prepared. I'm sure most of this is going in one ear and out the other. You're probably not even taking me seriously, but even so, there's something I feel obligated to tell you. Those who laugh at the diligent self-improvement of others will end up crying in the end, without fail. Try to remember that.
なんか、私、間違ってた？
Yes.
チルチル、間違わない人なんていないんだよ。そして、間違いに気がついたのなら、正せばいいんだよ。人生をやり直すのに、遅いなんてことはないのよさ。今すぐ正していけば全然間に合うんだよ。だってチルチルはまだ生きているんだから。なんかちょっといいこと言ってる風じゃない。まさか解かれた。マキナに人生を解かれたというの。この私は。
Hell yeah. In conclusion, it doesn't matter if you approach this as a kind of game. Remembering the basic principles somewhere in the corner of your mind is good enough. Why not join our anti-explosives training, Michiru?
すげえ。チルチルにうんって言わせちゃったのよさ。この男、口先だけで完全に一人の女を丸め込んじゃったよ。
Dude.
やっぱパパはすげえのな。
Dude, Yuji could probably, somehow get me to suck his dick with his incredible sweet talk. Didn't we just go over this? Even if you think stuff like that, don't actually say it.
私、騙されてる？騙されてないよね。
Michiru, my friend, think this over carefully. I have no reason to deceive you. Even if I did, hypothetically, it would be the result of my concern for your well-being. You understand? She doesn't understand.
すげえ。この男すげえ。
Alright. When we use the phrase sweet talking, the nonce is usually fairly negative. You tend to imagine someone coaxing an innocent through insincere lip service. But there's nothing inherently wrong about persuasion. For example, if I sweet talk Michiru into re-examining her values, I've peacefully brought her around to my way of thinking. Isn't that an admirable alternative to conflict? Granted, it's hard to feel too self-satisfied about this particular outcome.
尻の位置が高い。破片でケツ吹き飛ばされるぞ。ケツだけ先に故郷に返す気か、貴様。こら。
Alright, I got nothing to say here.
すいません。すいません、アルカボケ。返事はレンジャーだと教えたばっかりだろが、貴様。母親のマッコに手突っ込んで、腹の中に忘れてきた脳みそ取ってこい。
You're definitely Monko in that.
レンジャー。
This is awful. It's just too much. Michiru presses herself flat to the earth in the explosive defense position. Makina mashes a heel down onto her posterior, snarling viciously. You can feel a slight glimmer of conscience in that girl at least removed her boots first, but seriously, where did she even pick up this demon marine drill instructor routine? She's impressively proficient at the verbal abuse.
ちょっとユージ
Hmm? What's up?
なんだじゃないわよ。あんたたちが普段やってるレンジャーごっこっていつもこんなことやってるわけ？
Hell yeah. I wouldn't say always, but in general, we engage in roughly similar activities.
ごっこでしょ？ごっこよね。なんであの子こんなに本気なわけ？
Harsh training's a good thing. When you're actually in the field, isn't the thought that drill instructor put me through worse than this kind of reassuring. Wait, let me read that. Okay, wait. When you're actually in the field, isn't the thought, that drill instructor put me through worse than this, kind of reassuring? Approach your drills like battle, and battle like your drills.
それ間違ってない。だって私たち学生よ。
There's nothing wrong with the theory. If anything's wrong about this scenario, wouldn't it be the way you swallowed my crap hook, line, and sinker?
やっぱり騙されてた。
Hell yeah.
どうした早速泣き言か。気合が足りないからそんな弱音が出るのよさ。
A fucker squat oh,
入れ直
okay.
してやる。
I used to do
跳
this.
躍30回。よーい。
They hurt after a while.
鏡跳躍？
But I can do a lot. I think anyone really can if they really get into it.
頭の後ろで手を組んで片膝立てて右足左足って交互にジャンピングスクワットするのよさ。
Wait.
私が横でやるから真似するのよ。はい、鏡跳躍よーい。
What do you mean switch to your other leg? What are you talking about? That's not the type of squat jump I'd do.
鏡跳躍よーい。はい、はい、
Oh god.
貴様、何膝をパキパキ鳴らしておるか。それにもっと高く飛べ。地上15センチだ。最初からやり直し。はい、
God damn. Noise hurts.
だから膝を鳴らすなよ。もう仕方ないでしょうが。
Oh, I hate that noise. Well, I don't think rattling knees honestly matter much either way, but busting your balls over any arbitrary little thing they can find is a drill instructor's job. The girl seems oddly professional about this, down to the strangest little details. Have to admit, this might feel a little too realistic for a game. Yeah, I guess we'll keep going. I've got like 2 minutes. Machina, your cell phone seems to be ringing.
本当だ。誰からだろう。
Machina takes out her phone from her pocket and checks the caller ID screen, but... Oh, okay. What's wrong? Aren't you gonna answer that?
レンジャー松島、私が戻るまで続けるように。
It's got a long ring.
レンジャー。
With those words, Machina trots off toward the nearby bicycle parking space, her phone still buzzing away. When it comes to people calling Machina's cell phone, Suo Amane would be by far the most likely possibility, followed by Komene Sachi. But if the call was from either of them, she'd hardly need to be so secretive about it. Stop! Hate that noise so damn much. Hey there, Michiru. You can stop now. Sorry about dragging you into the game.
ねえユージ、なんか私ちょっと楽しくなってきたかも。
Okay, kid. That so? Well, good for you.
じゃあ
Your knees. Michiru's knees rattle violently as she continues her vigorous leaps. Depending on how you look at it, a strange smile on her face could be seen as the delirious expression of a soldier fallen prey to self-destructive despair. Well, whatever. This is pretty heavy exercise given the heat, so I suppose a bit of temporary... I don't know what the fuck that word is. Lunacy? Oh yeah, lunacy. Okay. Yeah, okay. I understand what the word is now. Sorry, I'm slow. Isn't surprising. Heat and exhaustion make people go a little off the head, or a little off in the head. However, the person in question usually doesn't realize it. Asako once told me a story from a time she'd been shipped off to war in South America, where an unending heat wave and enemy bombings that came like clockwork every day wore down her nerves to the point of numbness. Eventually, the company commander was wounded in action, and a new first lieutenant who arrived from the rear took over. He was apparently a timid man, prone to trembling in his trench when the bombs began to fall. Asako found this shaking so hilarious that she'd spend the entire duration of the attacks cackling uproariously. The lieutenant interpreted this as a sign of derangement and promptly had her shipped back home. What's abnormal? What's normal? Depends entirely on your circumstances and perspective. Granted, I'm tempted to interpret Michiru's current actions as evidence that she's lost it. But to Michiru, this course of action might seem like the most reasonable thing in the world. God damn! Okay, no, isn't this girl just genuinely losing it? Given this heat and her clear physical exhaustion, it's possible that her brain's beginning to melt in a stew of lactic acid. Alright, perfect time to stop. I was waiting for that. I didn't want to stop in the middle of that. So, we are on Seat of the World Tree 10. Next time we'll work on that, see what's up. Probably not anything good. And I feel like everything's going to go downhill from here on out. Which means story time, really deep shit. I can't wait. So, yeah, I already said next time we'll do all that. Hope you guys enjoyed this session. If you did, please leave a like or whatever. Subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.